Hey guys, this is Johnny FD and happy December. This is a travel income expenses travel guide post to the last 30 days. I was in San Jose Del Cabo as well as Cabo San Lucas and underwater on a liveaboard. So let's get started right away. So this month actually started in Playa Del Carmen. I spent the first 20 days there, but I wrote about that all in my guide post that you've probably seen already on johnnyfd.com and through the videos here on the YouTube channel. But what I'm really excited to talk about is the second part of the month in Cabo San Lucas and San Jose Del Cabo. If you've ever heard of Los Cabos, it's confusing. It actually just means the Cabos or the Capes. And San Jose Del Cabo is where the airport is, and it's kind of like the quieter resort city. It's like a beach city that has, lots of nice hotels. It's kind of for the older folks. It's a good expat area for people who retire. And then Cabo San Lucas is the party area that's kind of known for spring break. So I was there for just 5 days, and it was great. I went surfing in San Jose Del Cabo, and I stayed at this little surf hostel right across from the beach, and it really made me just love the ocean again. I haven't surfed since Sri Lanka last year, and this year I'm going to go back again. So in February 2020, I'm going to spend an entire month in Weligama, Sri Lanka again. If you haven't read my post about it last year, or take a look, because it is the cheapest place probably on earth. It is like half the price of Thailand, and it is amazing. So check that out, and I look forward to being back there. If any of you guys want to come and surf, I'm a beginner, but I just want to just practice every day. I love it. So Cabo San Lucas it's hard to explain. It's kind of like the U.S., so it's better than being in the U.S. because it's a little bit cheaper. The weather is better. It was sunny and warm, but I don't know. It doesn't really feel like Mexico. It has some Mexican food, but it's not really any better than the Mexican food you get in San Diego or like some parts of LA. So I don't really see that big of a point to go there. I'd rather go to Playa Del Carmen. That's kind of the recap. If you want to know more, ask me in the comments. But the reason why I was there is I was going on liveaboard. So I, in Playa Del Carmen, kind of as a recap, I went scuba diving there, went to some cenotes, and it was really cool, but it was also really scary. Like, I've never had a panic attack ever in my entire life. I've never really had any anxiety scuba diving that I can remember. Maybe like the very first minute of my diving life, or a few like bad instances where, I ran out of air, my equipment failed or something, but I never really had a full-on panic attack for no reason. I went cave diving in a cenote, and in Mexico the rules are kind of lax. Like, you're not actually supposed to go into these cenote caverns because the distance between here's the difference between a cenote and a cavern. So if you're a cavern diver or a cave diver, it is a very dangerous sport. A lot of people die in it because it's an overhead environment. You can't escape it. People get lost and stuck in there all the time. So for recreational divers, kind of the safer diving, they have these rules where you have to see light basically all the time so you can get out. In Mexico, they kind of throw those rules out the window. They say, oh yeah, it's, within, 50 meters, which is pretty far, especially when you're in a cave underwater. So it was a bit dangerous. I really loved the first dive I did in cenote Taj Mahal. There's a video of it on my YouTube channel and on this blog post. Watch it. It's beautiful, but you can also see why it can be a little bit scary. But the whole time I felt pretty safe. You can see stuff. I was like, this is cool. I wouldn't recommend it to a complete beginner. I would say you should probably have 20 dives before you do this specific cenote, and probably have decent buoyancy and be comfortable. But the one we did after that, El Pit, sucked. I hated it. Normally it's good because it has a light beam that just goes all the way down and it's kind of cool and photos looks amazing. But on the day I went, it was afternoon, it was cloudy, so there was no light at all. It was completely pitch black. And the dive master I was with, who otherwise was really good, so I still recommend that company. He is basically a professional cave diver. That's his hobby. That's his life. He's basically like a NASCAR race car driver of diving. He likes those dangerous situations. He likes exploring like pitch black caves. That's his thing. And because he knew I was a good diver and I did great on the first dive, he was like, all right, Johnny, let's go. And he drops straight down to 37 meters, which is like 120 feet, like past the limit that we're supposed to go. And he did it like within seconds. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. I'm just going to follow him. And I'm chasing him down. And it's pitch black, zero light. And I have my flashlight. And the problem is there's nothing to see. You can't even see like a wall. And I can hardly see him. And I'm like, where the heck are we? Why are we doing this? And I'm in a cave. And I'm thinking, oh my God, why are we here? And where is this guy taking me? And my breathing started going crazy. And I started like having this like straight up a panic attack. And I'm like, why are we here? Because this is like an ancient Mayan like sacrifice pit. This is where they would take and kill people. And I was like, this is not the way I want to die. And logically, I was like, I'll be fine. You know, I know, like, I've been to 40 meters. You know, even though it's black, there's probably nothing here. You know, I can find my way out. It's not a big deal. Let me just do this. But physically, my heart was racing. My body was trying to reject the regulator, so I was trying to spit it out physically, and I had to like force myself with my hand just to keep it on. And I was like, I need to go up, because when you go down that quickly, you get something called nitrogen narcosis, which is kind of like when you're drunk, and you can either be fun drunk or you can be like bad drunk. And I was like that bad, uncontrollable, like narked out. And what sucked about it is it made me think like, oh man, what if this just ruined me for diving? And I was gonna go on this 10-day liveaboard the next week, and all these bad things happened. This next photo of me ziplining and jumping off the water, you notice I'm one-armed. That photo was fine, but as soon as I turned my arm and I was hanging with just my bicep, I heard pop, pop, pop. And normally if I was trying to do like a one-armed like pull up or something, you would just get tired and you just let go. But when you're swinging and your body has that fear of like anxiety of like, if I let go I might die, even though you should just jump in the water, your body just holds on extra tight and it tore a muscle. And I was thinking, oh my God, I'm in this water. I have this like, I don't know how bad it is, because if you tear a bicep, it's really bad. It takes months to recover. I'm trying to swim with one arm, and I'm not very buoyant. So I'm just sinking, and I'm like thinking, oh my God, now I'm going to drown. And it was just a bad month. Luckily, the muscle was a minor tear, and it naturally recovered in a few days, even though it was all bruised. And then when I got to the dive site, on the boat, I had 10 days on this boat, going out in the middle of nowhere to an island called Socorro, which means SOS or help in Spanish. It's an island that 99% of Mexicans never even heard of. So ask your Mexican friends, they're probably like, where is this? If you look at a map, look on Google Map for Socorro, it's like in the middle of nowhere. And it's basically an army base that you can't go on, that's surrounded by sharks. And I was like, okay, I have 10 days. I don't know if I'm going to be fit for diving, physically and mentally, but I've committed to this trip. I'm just going to do it. And the first day, to be honest, it was kind of awkward. I was having like this mental panic again. I was thinking, oh my God, What if I get this anxiety and I can't dive? And I tried to talk to my fellow divers about this, the other people on the boat, and I'm very lucky that they all basically ignored it and was like, yeah, you'll be fine. And I guarantee it's only because I'm a big guy and I've had a lot of experience diving, and that they're not going to let anything ruin their trip, because they spent close to $4,000 each to be on this boat. This is like a dream for them, and they're not going to let some guy that they just met ruin their diving trip by wanting to go up early, or, you know, keeping it shallow, or having panic for no reason. I have a feeling that if I was, you know, younger, or some small, you know, girl, or it wasn't this big a trip, they might be like, oh, it'll be okay, you know, let's just go to, you know, 30 feet or 18 meters, let's go up early. But it's sometimes good not to get pity from people, because that allows us to kind of dwell in it. And it's almost kind of hard to explain, but sometimes in life you got to suck it up. And I know this isn't a popular thing in 2019, but sometimes you got to be like, all right, is there any actual immediate danger going forward? Or is it something that happened to you in the past that was traumatic that you just need to get over? And for me, there was no actual fear of, you know, besides like the basics. It was just a bad experience I had that I need to get over. And I'm lucky, so fortunate that I got over myself. I got over that shit. I went to 100 feet again. I went to 30 meters, 40 meters, and I dove with these amazing sharks, dolphins, manta rays. You can see all that in the videos. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. So I'm so glad that I got over my stuff. I didn't let anyone feel bad for me, or they wouldn't feel bad for me anyways. And I didn't, you know, try to live off the pity. And that allowed me to have this amazing month. And this would have been a really expensive month. So the dive trip was $3,500, and I had to pay for the gear, because they only rented some of the gear, and the other gear I had to buy. I rented the BCD, which is the jacket, the regulators, which is the breathing things, the tanks. We got something called nitrox, which is a blend of air that has more oxygen in it, which allows you to stay down kind of longer. It's complicated if you don't dive, but basically in the air, there's normally 20% oxygen, 79% nitrogen. And if you get nitrox, it becomes 32% more or less oxygen and like 68% nitrogen, which allows you to stay down longer without building up too much nitrogen in your body. And kind of as a side benefit, having more oxygen, it keeps you more awake, so you don't get as tired from all the dives. And we're doing like three or four dives a day. So we did 21 dives total. Each of them were, you know, between 40 and 50 minutes, and just a long day. And it was amazing. So paid for that, and you know, then I left. We all left. Pretty big tip. I think everyone left like a $300, $400 tip. So I gave them $400, which sounds like a lot for a tip, and it is, but it's 10 days, and there's like 9 staff members, and it's an expensive trip. So that ended up being a lot. But luckily, because I do marketing for one of these liveaboard companies, I was reimbursed for a lot of it, for the actual trip itself, and all these other cool things I did for the month. And I'm kind of on that. I'm so fortunate that I built this life and this blog, this YouTube channel, and the skills for helping other companies market their products, whether it's, you know, liveaboard, you know, dives, tours, products, you know, digital and physical products, that people hire me and, you know, have me go through their websites for user experience, or write reviews, or, you know, show them how to get more traffic and more bookings, things like that. And I've built such a good life for myself, and I'm so fortunate. And this is the month of Thanksgiving, and I really want to say thank you to all of you for watching the channel, for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, these are my monthly updates. If you want to hear these every month, kind of see what I've been up to, lessons learned, where I'm going next, subscribe, as well as seeing all the cool travel videos. And I'm just so fortunate that I've taken the chance. First of all, I want to thank Tim Ferriss for writing 4 Hour Work Week like 10 years ago. I read that book and I started traveling and I started making money online. I started this life. And if it wasn't for kind of that first person to believe in me, even though I've actually only met Tim once and he doesn't know my name, that book changed my life. So even if I've never met you, maybe watching these videos and knowing it's possible for others and knowing it's not all just easy. It has its ups and downs, but it's all possible. Maybe that'll inspire you to do the same life. So I know this video is getting a bit long, so I just want to quickly go over the expenses for the month as well as the income for the month. I spent about 20 days in Playa Del Carmen. You can look at the guidepost to it on my blog from last month to kind of see those prices. But really, this would have been a really expensive month. It would have been like a $10,000 month if I had to pay for everything full price. Luckily, a lot of that was reimbursed by the companies I work for. But a lot of these things I paid for out of pocket as well. So I paid to dive the cenotes myself. I paid for my flight and transport to Los Cabos. And I actually spent $1,000 every month. I give my parents $1,000 every month to help with their retirement. And this month for Christmas, and every month, I mean every year for the last, I think, 4 years now, I've been paying my parents' property tax. So it was $3,496 this month, and it was like a big deal, because I didn't make that much for this month, as you're gonna see. So I didn't add all that into my expenses because that's not like my living expenses. So my actual living travel expenses are about $2,200, but in total I spent closer to $7,000, and it would have been closer to $10,000 if I didn't get some of these things. So it was tough, but it was a great trip. I'm really, really grateful for being able to do this, to be able to live the life for myself, to be able to share it with you guys, but also to help my parents, in their life as well while I'm doing this. My income for this month was actually very luckily pretty good at $5,338, especially because I was without internet for 10 total days. I haven't been without internet for 10 days since the iPhone came out. And I'm so glad to finally unplug and have that total digital detox. I highly recommend it. It was so good for me. And I know it worked because even though I got signaled that night before we got on board, it was already pretty late. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to deal with the stuff in the morning. And it really, really helped me a lot. Also, I'm really proud that nothing went to crap that I was away and money still came in. It actually would have been a pretty bad month if it wasn't for a one-off kind of marketing collab that I did. But I'm so fortunate, guys. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Some money, still comes in passively through things like my Udemy courses or my Amazon stuff. But really, a lot of it is just stuff I've done years ago and I'm lucky with. So that's kind of my final thoughts for the month. Hopefully you learned something from this. And I hope that you keep following this journey for my journey, but also your journey. So leave a comment. Let me know what you're up to, what you learned, and what your goals are for this month, next month. And yeah, and what you're grateful for. I'm grateful for you guys. Thanks. See you next month.